Welcome back to Showbiz Entertainment, and I'm still your reviewer. The next logical step in the Ghostbusters franchise, why not cash in, make another movie? And unfortunately, we had to wait several years later before we saw the second one. There was a lot of anticipation for this movie. There was a lot of press going on, a lot of actually musical artists jumping on this. LL Cool J, Run DMC, Bobby Brown, of course, with that song, that lead song in the movie, and everybody was scrambling, and everybody was wondering about what it was going to look like, what it was going to be like. Was it going to be as good as the first one? Was it going to be better than the first one? Uh, but okay, Ghostbusters 2. I really pinpoint if this movie was better or not. I would say this movie is kind of like stands on its own. You can't really compare it to the original film. It's a little bit it's a different movie. I mean, it still has the same idea, with the with Egon Spangler and Peter Venkman and of course Winston Zedmore, played by Ernie Hudson, and Ray Stantz, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis are back. Sigourney Weaver is back. Annie Potts is back. Rick Moranis is back, and the whole gang's back, and we just wanted to see it. And basically, this movie starts off with Dana Barrett has a little boy, or actually a baby by the name of Oscar, and uh, Evil. He's known as Evil. The character on this movie, he needs to come into our world, so he needs to find a body he can inhabit when he comes. Because basically this movie kind of goes back to the original Ghostbusters. Gozer worshippers. So basically, this guy worshipped Gozer. Okay, Evil Chandler, I think his name was the character, the name of the movie, and so he has to get a human body to come back into this world, be reborn in a sense, kind of like a rebirth. So he decides, wait, why not Dana Barrett? She happens to know the Ghostbusters. So I mean, honestly, he could have picked any baby, any person in the world, anybody, but he decided, right? Okay, Dana Barrett, Sigourney Weaver. She happens to, been on the last movie. So it kind of like, because basically, if she wasn't, actually, if Sigourney Weaver had been in this movie, it probably would have been a little bit odd, like just a little bit odd. I'm not saying that, of course, obviously the movie could have lived without her, but I'll do respect, because Sigourney Weaver's a great actress, right? They had to kind of bring her into the fold again, because so the Ghostbusters they get sued by the city, and they kind of split up. Uh, Peter Venkman's doing a paranormal TV show about the paranormal, and and then of course Egon and Ray are doing their thing, and then Winston basically, honestly, they don't really, as far as Ernie Hudson, Winston Zedmore's character on this movie, he's still working with the Ghostbusters, but you don't really see any development in this guy at all. You don't really see, we don't really know what he is. He just, because he kind of shows up at the third 11th hour of the last movie as the fourth Ghostbusters. Because it's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of like a three musketeers affair, thing going. So he kind of shows up at the 11th hour, and he's the fourth Ghostbuster, just like the Three Musketeers thing. So you don't really see any character development in this guy, not even on this movie. He's just a hired hand, and that's kind of like in a way, and of course, kind of like in a way, it's kind of like a little bit of a travesty that this guy really doesn't have anything to do in this movie, except basically he's a sidekick to the Ghostbusters. Basically, he is a Ghostbuster. So why that was, I have no clue. But so that's probably my YouTube movie critic opinion is that uh, Winston Zedmore, Ernie Hudson, kind of like he's got nothing to do in these movies, really. He, so, but the movie kind of, it's just a basic plot, So I mean, nothing you hadn't seen before. But the thing it was fun. Ghostbusting was fun again. You know, people got into it again. MTV jumped on it. You know, the Tonight Show, all that good stuff. Johnny Carson and all that stuff. So they you know it was another hit. You know, and of course there's a lot of memorable scenes on it. There's a couple one cameo appearance that I remember on this movie that a lot of people don't remember is you know, Cheech Marin. You know, Cheech Marin from Cheech and Chong's on this movie on one part. So so they're kind of getting they're just they're going back to the regular lives, and there's no ghosts anymore, but the city had sued them, so they're kind of like they're trying to go back in business again, and with evil Chandler starting trouble again, or try to come into the world and be reborn again. It's they kind of go back to what they do best, and that's ghost busting. There's a lot of great stuff on here, a lot of I think it's like they went in we're not just going to make a bunch of people walk around and as phantasms. They really got what I like about these movies with the ghosts that they create on the movies. They're very imaginative. They're not the kind of ghosts that you'll actually see in real life or experience at all. They're real kind of on the wacky side. They're kind of funny looking. Like the jogger part. That was that's really creative. These movies are creative. I mean, like I said, in today's movie franchises and movies in general, there's not a whole lot of creativity. This is like the era of the reboot, and so that you get to see a lot of cool stuff here. And of course the one character on here, another character on here, he's just basically a ghost that slimed Peter Venkman in the first movie Slimer. Nobody says his name is Slimer, but on the real Ghostbusters cartoon that I used to watch as a child, he was known as Slimer, and he's back on this movie, but again, he doesn't. Uh, he's kind of like a subplot, he's not even a subplot. He's kind of like just like a secondary third character, just kind of occupying space on this movie. So they have to fight this guy, and there's uh, Dana Barrett happens to be working at she's what do you call it, an artist. She works at a museum with artifacts and stuff like that. She works with art. She's an artist. She a painter, and so she has like her boss happens to for some reason he's being used by this evil spirit to help him and aid in coming into the world. So I'm not too familiar with this guy's name, but he's been on a whole lot of movies I seen growing up. He's funny on this movie. He yeah. If you guys remember the way he talks a little bit, like yeah, you remember the way he talks a little bit like this, a little bit, and he's a little bit not feminine, but he's just a little bit more. He's a little bit more of a nerd than the Ghostbusters themselves, like Rick Moranis was on the original movie. He's like, you know what I mean? Because Peter Venkman and the rest of the gang are nerds, but this guy, Lewis was even more of a nerd. That's the same thing with this guy. He's more of a nerd than the Ghostbusters themselves. So they kind of, I think what they were thinking, they wanted to bring in something, another kind of character in here that they could relive some of the moments, the great moments that Rick Moranis had on the original Ghostbusters. And I don't think they really accomplished that, but this guy was funny though. It was hilarious. I mean, that part where he's coming levitating towards the child, and the child's levitating also, and he's dressed like a grandmother, and he has like a little one of those old 1930s strollers with him, and it's just there's like so many endless parts of this movie that they're good. It's basically and at the same time, this movie's not really like a special effects. It doesn't like revolve around special effects all the time. It kind of we're just basically saying that okay, we got the gang back. They're back. They're gonna make you guys laugh. You're gonna have a great time. Basically, they're not. This is a lot of this stuff is tongue in cheek, and everything that Bill Murray says on this movie is tongue in cheek. So most of the time, when when he speaks. It's just there's so many parts on that part also when they go into the sewer and then they see the river of slime and then they when they get out they start to argue and of course Winston and Ray almost get into a fight and it's just and they got slime on them. They go to the restaurant and then Peter finally goes on a date with Dana or I'm sorry, my bad. He's trying to relive a romance that he basically named her as the ball and chain kind of thing, and he's trying to relive that romance that never really got off the ground because he basically she says on this movie anytime they talked about getting married he would fall asleep. So like I said, the movie you don't really want to focus too much on the plot of the movie. You just want to enjoy it. It's just a really good time. It's not it's basically on the cocktails of the original Ghostbusters. So you don't really want to concentrate too much on the on what's going on, except that the original cast is back and they're gonna make you laugh, and there's gonna be a lot of crazy stuff going on with the ghosts and all that, and then with the guy, the evil, the master of evil, you know, the diet cock of evil, the margarine of evil. You're still my evil. You're the diet coke of evil, the margarine of evil. This one carry. Put it down. So this movie, I definitely give this movie. Hold on, people. It's a winner. My new rating system. This movie is a winner. Did I say this movie's a winner? Yes, I did. And I'm not John Cena, so. All right. Probably the last scene that I really enjoyed, and it was very original. And you know how we had Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, the original movie? Now we have Old Lady Liberty. But I mean, the way they brought it to life was amazing. I don't know if they used stop motion or not, because CGI was not even invented yet, or there was some kind of maybe early version of it. They basically they put the slime on the Statue of Liberty, and she comes alive, and she is basically like kind of like an escorts them into the city to go to meet the main villain on this movie and fight it out with him. So that pretty much says the movie, and like I said, that's definitely one of the most original scenes I've ever seen on a movie. If you watch Ghostbusters, you're gonna see a lot of original stuff, like like the big 100-foot Marshmallow Man, and on this movie, the Statue of Liberty walking into Manhattan. So, like I said, there's these movies are one of a kind. There's no movies like this, and you guys know there's gonna be a new Ghostbusters movie, and there's talk about making it all females because the death of Harold Ramis. They wanna do like an all woman Ghostbusters team with a lot of current comedians they have on movies today. You guys probably know some of them already. I'm not honestly, like I said, I don't really I don't really watch a lot of these women or remember or recall a lot of these women that they're going to use, but probably when you see it, you'll know it. You'll know when you see it. I will too, by the way. But like I said, this is my way, like I said, of celebrating Ghostbusters. The death of Harold Ramis. He was a very visionary director, actor, writer, screenwriter, and all that good stuff. So he's definitely definitely Ghostbusters basically died. Like pretty much having a new Ghostbusters movie was just ludicrous to us. With him dying, it just doesn't make any sense to do one. I mean, just no sense of doing another movie. It's over with. They took too long to do it. Basically this project, by the way, was in limbo for a really, really long time. So, so you can imagine, what's the point of making another movie? So we're gonna have to suffer through another reboot, and I guarantee you, it's gonna suck really bad. I guarantee you, it's gonna suck really bad. It's gonna suck really bad. gonna suck the new cast. I guarantee that. I'm not gonna like it. You're probably not gonna like it, but hey, it sells tickets. All right. This is Showbiz Entertainment. I am still your reviewer.
Janine, any calls?
No.
Any messages?
No.
Any customers?
No, Dr. Venkman.
It's a good job, isn't it? Type something, will you? We're paying for this stuff.
There's a bad news in my apartment, help! A bear in his apartment.